I know there's a slight disappointment the real Steve Martin isn't here today. So first of all, I apologize for that. But I can tell you we're going to talk about something very interesting. We've spent the morning talking about technology. Now we're going to talk about people and building quality customer relationships using your most important weapon, your most important competitive weapon, which is your mouth and the words you speak. Now, everyone should have got a copy of that book titled Heavy Hitter Sales Linguistics when they checked in for this event. Let me explain the title. First of all, a heavy hitter is a very accomplished person, someone who's successful, whether it be in sports, business, politics, or sales. Sales linguistics is a relatively brand new area of study of how customers and salespeople use language to communicate. So I have a short time with you this morning to introduce the main concepts of sales linguistics. And then we're going to have 4 breakout sessions. And we'll do a couple exercises here today. But when you get in the breakout sessions, we're going to do some testing to help you understand how you use language. Let me make one comment. I'm not talking about English, French, Spanish, or Chinese here. Those are just dialects people speak. I write about the language of the mind and as human beings, how we process, interpret, and validate language. So everything in this book is applicable to regardless of what language you speak, even though the 2 hardest languages to learn per MRI brain scans are Chinese and Arabic. This is what it's about. We have to go off and convince someone to become our friend. And that person has power, authority, and clout. And we have a quick conversation with them. Why is it important? Well, here's one survey Gartner did. They surveyed all these IT leaders. What's the biggest problem with folks trying to sell to them? And guess what? They're all language-based. The problem is language-based. Typically where you lose, you do not have rapport. And rapport is defined as harmonious communication. And you've got a problem. A lot of my clients are in very mature marketplaces going toe-to-toe with the same competitors day in, day out. Those are 3 quotes. I pulled them right off the main pages of each of your website. Can you take the logo and match it to the quote? Well, here they are. I got to tell you, if it was difficult for you, can you imagine how hard it is for the customer? So never, more than ever, your mouth is a differentiator between you winning and losing. So what we're trying to do here with sales linguistics is in interaction with someone, we can end up in 3 places. We're either going to be submissive, which means we're not respected. We're going to be equal, which means we're respected. Or we're going to be dominant. Now, most people think dominant is a negative term. No, it's not. Dominance just means someone is following your opinions and advice. And that's what we want to do. We can help our customers. Okay. There are 3 basic pillars of persuasion. And at every sales meeting, they typically only focus on one pillar, the logic and reason of buying. In other words, they spend all the time explaining all the features, functions, specifications, and benefits. But there's 2 other huge pillars of persuasion. The middle one is called a personal connection. How long do you think it is before someone makes their initial assessment of whether they like you when they meet you for the first time? I asked that when I conduct my studies. I said, okay, you met with 4 sales teams. When did you decide during each of your first interaction with sales teams when you liked them? The average time? 90 seconds. Within 90 seconds, we formulate our opinion whether or not we like someone. Then we'll spend the next 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes validating whether that opinion was right. So there's a strong personal connection. And then there's the psychological appeal. The psychological appeal is the attractiveness of your psychological value. And your psychological value can be you appeal to someone's ego, reduce pain, make them more comfortable and a sense of well-being, or make them feel like they're part of a group. So each one of these pillars has a different impact. And I want to congratulate Charlie and the team here for understanding that it's not just about the logic of selling. It's about the psychological appeal. It's about the people and politics of how decisions get done. And that's a very key part of sales, particularly in this head-to-head market against Synopsys and Mentor Graphics. Okay. You've all seen an org chart, right? Here's an org chart. We have upper levels of the organization. We have a VP of engineering. We have mid-levels, directors, and managers. All right? I mentioned I work with a lot of sales forces, and I'm going to tell you a problem that very technical sales forces have that I've just observed. These are ones that are typically, they might be selling in engineering, design, low-level IT system software, networking security. Here's a problem. When you think about the organization, the upper levels of the organization do the planning. They do the 6-month plan, the 1-year plan, the 5-year plan, etc. They plan what projects and initiatives are going to be undertaken. Conversely, the lower levels of the organization do the execution of the plan. They're the ones charged with carrying out the orders. But they really don't do too much of the planning, the long-term planning. They're the doers. And then, the higher levels of the organization actually do the measurement of the execution of the plan and the measurement of whether or not the plan was any good in the first place. And here's the problem a lot of highly technical organizations have. Very comfortable measuring to the execute people. Those execute people are hands-on with the technology. They're typing in. They're using it. They're administering it. They're calling the support line. They're the day-to-day users. Conversely, much more uncomfortable calling higher in the organization. And the reason why is there's a different set of languages that need to be spoken at the different levels of the organization.